Hello YouTube, Ken Hale here with another Warframe video for you, and today is going to be my video showing you my build for Ivara, one of my favorite frames in the game and one of the most versatile frames in the game. She can pretty much do almost everything by herself and help out a lot any group that she is part of. So let's get into the build here. Let me go into the arsenal. So this is my Ivara Prime here, and I will tell you right away that this guide here, or this build, is not necessarily new player friendly. There are a lot of pieces they're gonna have to put together to get this build to work the way that it's intended to work. So if you're a new player, you can follow along and have this as a long-term goal for you. But if you're somewhat of a seasoned veteran player, you can probably put this build together quite easily here. This is kind of a package build. It's not just Ivara that you have to worry about. You also have to worry about all the other parts in the build to go together. So let's get into the build here. So on the frame itself, I have this going on here, and you can see I have one unfamiliar mod here, which is Pool of Life, and we'll talk about it in a second here. But there's actually two ways you can build this. They can build it with a concentrated arrow, which is what I have here now. If you want a little bit more of a tactical, slower pace AoE, kind of one arrow to kill a bunch of enemies at a time, you can go concentrated arrow. But if you want, you can replace this with your power strength mod of your choice. This is what I have right now. Otherwise, you can also go with, like I said, your power strength of your choice. So we have two mods here for survivability. You can choose to replace these again with something else. If you're more careful than I am, I find that these help out a bit. And if you want to put Umbra Foremost on your Ivara, you can of course use Umbra Vitality and Umbra Intensify for even more power strength and more power. I still haven't decided if I want to do that yet, but that's kind of one of my plans here for the future. We have a prime continuity here for the duration for our sleep arrow and our cloak arrow if you need to use that. And then of course also reduce the drain from your prowl, very important. And then I have prime flow here for the 850 energy pool that you can actually quite easily fill with my build here, and we'll talk about it. We have a growing power here because this is of course on a power string buff that you can add to your bow, your Artemis Bow, and it will stick there. You want to kind of lock it in, your snapshot, the extra 25% power strength, and then you can use it as your bow until you decide to cancel the ability or until another fire falls on your head. So that is that. So prime flow and then equilibrium and pool of life here are going to work together for our pretty much unlimited supply of energy. And of course I have well of life here as my Helminth slot, and I replaced it in navigator because navigator is pretty much useless in most cases unless you want to play meme builds. So the way the build is going to work is I'm going to get of course tons of health orbs and energy orbs from enemies that I kill while effect with a pool of life, or as soon as I cancel the ability. So I just have to make sure that I do enough damage to kill the enemy before I cancel well of life. Okay, so if you don't know how well of life works, you're going to suspend the enemy like this. You can see in the video here, and the enemy is going to be suspended in the air. The duration in my build is 18 seconds, so you have 18 seconds to do the damage, but you probably don't want to do that because it's gonna then you cannot kill the enemy while he has the wall of life, and that's both a good thing and a bad thing. So the good thing is because you have concentrated arrow, you're gonna, once you use the skill, the enemy is going to be floating in the air above everybody else, and you can easily target their heads. And because they cannot die, you can just lock in on the head and spam hundreds of arrows, well, maybe not hundreds, but tens of arrows to the heads, and it's going to kill everything in their surroundings as you attack them, the suspended guy. And if you want to kill even more people with your concentrated arrow, you can put in overextended here for more range instead of vitality, or you can put it here instead of a health conversion, and on your non-format spot here you can put another range mod, and that's going to give you huge AoE kills for your Ivara here with concentrated arrow, especially if you're invisible with prowl, because with this build you're going to get a 1.58 times headshot multiplier, and you're going to be headshotting the suspended guy here with wall of life, and he's not going to be dying, so you're just going to be killing all his friends. And it's probably good for endless missions like survival. If you get a choke point and enemies are just pouring in from some area, you suspend one of the guys. Doesn't matter who it is. There's not like mark for death. Mark for death, you kind of have to prioritize your targets. This one, you just suspend anyone. Doesn't matter, and you shoot them in the head many times. Probably the unit with the biggest head, so they don't have to aim too much, and then you just shoot them until you don't want to shoot them anymore, and then you can cancel this skill, and as soon as the target falls on the ground dead, you're gonna get 4 health orbs and potentially an energy orb with it too. And the energy orb is gonna of course synergize with the arcane energize, which hopefully you have a better arcane energize than I have. I don't like doing add-ons too much, so my arcane energize here is only at rank 2, but hopefully you have an arcane energize rank 5. It's gonna make this build even better. And of course the equilibrium is gonna turn your pool of life health orbs into energy, and of course we'll talk about it how in a little bit here. Then the other piece of the puzzle that's going to allow you to get your health orbs and convert them into energy orbs at all times. Power drift here, this is for of course for more powerful arrows. If you want, you can of course exchange this. I would recommend, if you want to exchange this, a lot of people like knockdown resistance, but you're going to be invisible most of the time with prowl, probably on the harder fights, so you're probably not going to care too much about that. One thing that you could put here is some kind of parkour mod, so that you can go around the map more easily. Even if you are on prowl, parkour mods will still help you, because they're going to allow you to, when you roll, your rolls are going to go farther, and if you jump and roll, your rolls are going to go farther as well. So you can put something like ice spring here, or any of the other springs in there. I don't have the mod points, so I'm leaving power drift in there for the time being. So that is the main core play here for this play style. Like I said, you can exchange this if you don't like concentrated arrow. If you just want to run spamming arrows, and sometimes I do like to do that, you can replace this with a power strength mod. And arcane rage here, of course, again hopefully you have a ranked up arcane rage. Arcane rage is going to give you that 180 damage on your bow for 24 seconds at rank 5 every time you, well, not every time, 15% of the chance. Pretty much you can probably keep it up at all times, because you're going to be spamming headshots, and the buff lasts 24 seconds at rank 5, so there's a pretty good chance that you will be able to keep this buff. If you're not going to use a concentrated arrow, you can replace this with arcane acceleration for 90% fire rate for your bow, which is going to allow you to turn your arrows to a horizontal position a lot faster, and you're going to be getting crits all the time, so you're pretty much going to keep this buff, this fire rate up at all times. So yeah, you can replace the arcane rage with this arcane acceleration if you're going to do the non-concentrated arrow build. So that's it for the Ivara portion of the build here. So now let's talk about my primary, which is pretty much just a stat stick. I'm using the Comarax here because eventually I want to get, there's another arrow mod that is a sniper rifle only mod, and this mod is actually quite interesting. It allows you to sleep once you get 2 in here, because I'm going to have an arrow periphery and the other sniper rifle mod that I forgot the name, arrow something. It's going to allow me to put the enemies to sleep when I fall from aim gliding onto the ground for 6 seconds. And the cool thing about the Comarax is that it has the AoE shot. If you zoom in all the way, it has an AoE shot that hits a lot of people, and I have Firestorm here to increase the blast radius of that. So you can jump in the air if you're in, this is a kind of AoE CC situation where if you have no energy left and you're gonna get killed, you just jump in the air, aim glide for a second, and you can blast a bunch of enemies and you fall down to the ground, and you can put enemies to sleep. Protojet here is a little bit of a meme. I put this in here just because I had nothing else to put on this slot. But if you have to fight a very, very tough enemy like a lich or something like that you gotta kill fast, you can jump on any random wall and you get the extra 120% status chance and critical chance. Again, kind of a meme thing. I never remembered to use it, but if you can remember to use it to fight the tougher enemies, you can one-shot even more things with Ivara. And then the other, of course, the Vigilant mod is here for 20% chance to enhance the crit chance to the next tier. So if you get yellow crit chances, you have 20% chance of getting orange crits, and if you're getting orange crits, you have 20% chance to get a red crit. And of course, the last one is Amalgam Serration, which increases your sprint speed by 25%. Sadly, it doesn't affect your speed while you're walking in Prowl, but the few times where you're gonna be running quite fast. So yeah, that's it for my stat stick here. Of course, you can replace, if you can find better mods for your stat stick, now you can replace these 3 mods here with them. And if you have any ideas for better mods for stat stick for the rifles, feel free to put them down below in the comments. I would appreciate always looking for ways to improve my builds. So that's the second piece here of our build puzzle. And then you have the secondary here, which is a kit gun, of course, with Pax Boat for extra 30% ability strength. We're not really concerned with the efficiency here, but you do get that as well. But we are concerned with the ability strength, combined with your 25% power strength of your growing power. On your aura mod, you can snapshot both of them at the same time hopefully with a bit of luck. Now this weapon has a little bit of a lower status chance than I would like it to have, but if you can build a different way, or get a different pieces here to increase the status chance, it might be better. Of course, you can also use a different kit gun. It doesn't really matter what kit gun you use, but of course the important part here is that you can be able to kill things with headshots with your PAX boat. I got the what's it called, the rattle guts, because Ivara can sometimes might have a hard time getting rid of the nullifier shields. So this is a good one. This is a good weapon to get rid of the nullifier shields. But the important piece of the puzzle here, of course, is the PAX boat arcane, which you can get from what's it called? Solaris. The people from Fortuna, all right? And I put the Magnum barrel diffusion here for faster rolls. I guess that's what the wiki tells me. That you roll faster, or the animation of your roll is faster. So of course you're going to be rolling all the time with Ivara, because you're going to be in prowl. So you might as well put that in here. So yeah, that's the third piece of our puzzle here. Again, you're free to replace any of these here with any possible stat sticks, because you're not going to be using a secondary too much. Of course, you only need it once in the beginning of the mission to get your 30% power strength, and hopefully you also get your status buff from your growing power. So you can, as soon as you get those two buffs up, you can hit your fort, activate your Artemis Bow, and then not ever use your secondary again, because Ivara has got plenty of power without those. For your melee, it doesn't really matter. Originally I had the Meyer here for the Syndicate proc. You can also use the Dark Dagger with the Augment for the Syndicate proc as well. Alternatively, you can use any other weapons with the energy procs if you want. Melee is not really an important part of this build for the moment. I like the Lacera. Sadly, I don't have the Seti Lacera. Hopefully we can get that from Baro sometime in the near future. But this is one of my favorite weapons, and so I'm using that for now, and it's actually quite good. Still working on a good build for it, but I like the weapon. But yeah, it's not very important. I had the Syndicate procs in there first, because the mana consumption, the energy consumption with Ivara can be quite high sometimes, and if you run out of energy with Ivara, you're probably going to die, because you're not going to be able to CC the enemies, or you're not going to be able to be invisible, and she's pretty fragile, even with the survivability mods that I have on her. And I kind of forgot to mention, but of course, health conversion here, you're going to get plus 1350 armor at all times, because again, you're going to be getting health orbs all the time, and you're not going to be getting hit all the time because you're going to be invisible. And even if you were, you're going to be getting so many health orbs that there's no way that they're going to have less than full armor, probably 99% of the time, even if you're not using prowl. So this is an important mod here to keep her alive along with this. Alternatively, you can also opt vitality for quick thinking, because she's got a pretty large energy pool here, and quick thinking is going to give you 240 efficiency on your energy pool, which pretty much you can multiply this by the energy by 2 here, and if you want to think of it as health. So she would have over 2,000 health here, assuming of course her health is full, which most of the time it will be. So it's up to you. If you want to put quick thinking here, it might be a better choice, because clearly she doesn't have a lot of health. And the armor from health conversion will apply, as far as I understand, it will apply to the energy as well. Just another thought. You might want to replace vitality with quick thinking. And then moving on to the Artemis Bow here. So the Artemis Bow is really going to be up to you. Right now I have it built to the non-concentrated arrow build. So if you want to play with the spamming either the straight line of arrow, or straight lines of vertical arrows, or a horizontal line of arrows, you can use this build here with a good amount of status chance and a good amount of crit. And I have viral and of course Hunter's Munition here. If you don't like to rely on Hunter's Munition, you can replace it with some kind of heat proc. It probably would help the status, so you might make the status more reliable. But again, you're going to be shooting a bunch of arrows with the bow. If you don't play with the concentrated arrow build, you're going to be getting status procs in every hit. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say, especially if you do the vertical line and you're going to hit the enemy with all those arrows. Is not going to be a problem at all. But of course, if you're going to use the concentrated arrow build, then status is not important at all. So you just want to put pure damage in here, so you can exchange these mods, these two mods here, for the 90% elementals if you have mod capacity, which I don't. So you might have to form your bow a couple more times. Of course, you have one dash here that you can put one of your elemental mods in here. I have fine fast hands because it allows you to shoot your bow pretty much like a machine gun almost. Without it, it takes her quite a while to grab another arrow from the quiver, but with this, she just goes machine gun style, and it's a lot more fun to me. But if you're going to be going the concentrated arrow approach, you don't need to shoot fast. You just need pretty much each arrow is going to kill a bunch of enemies around it, so you have time to wait for your next group of mobs. So you do still want Hunter's Munition, because the slash procs do affect the enemies that are hit by the explosion from a concentrated arrow proc or explosion, but you don't need any of the other status chances here, and you also don't need prime fast hands, like I said. So you can replace these three here for the elemental mods of your choice, or you can put vigilante armaments there. I'm not sure how multi-shot affects the concentrated arrow build, but yeah, so just replace these three here with the mods of your choice as far as damage goes. But yeah, so that's it for the Artemis Bow here. Sadly, there's no excellent slot. Please, DE, can we add an excellent slot here for the prime for the Artemis Bow? That would be fantastic, because I could use that for, I don't know for what could I use this for? Probably nothing, I guess. Oh, terminal velocity. Yeah, I would love to put terminal velocity here. So please, DE, give me a excellent slot for my bow. And then moving on here to the final piece of the puzzle, which is our pet, of course, so our companion, if you will. So I, like everyone else, am running the Panzer Volpofile. However, I'm not really running for the viral damage. I'm just running it because of the every 4 seconds you get an AoE, and I have, of course, this companion is immortal, as you might know. It resurrects itself every 30 seconds. There's an interesting interaction with Prowl. When the pet dies, your Volpofile dies, and it goes back to the sentinel flying worm thing flying above your head. It becomes visible again, so enemies start shooting at it, and if you get a bombard rocket into it, it's a problem, because it's gonna hit you and you might die. I might be replacing this pet somehow at some point in the future, because it is very fragile, and it tends to wander off sometimes to attack enemies, and it gets itself killed, and then it becomes visible on my shoulder and might get me killed. So the main reason why I was using this is because of the AoE every 4 seconds, and I also have the swipe for more AoE here, extra 4 hits. And the reason why AoEs are important is because, of course, of Synth Deconstruct and Synth Fiber. So Synth Deconstruct is going to allow me to get even more health orbs from enemies that were hit by the Volpofile, and of course with these 2 AoEs here, your Volpofile is going to be hitting a lot of enemies, so 25% chance a lot of enemies will be dropping health orbs. And of course Synth Fiber, which I should probably rank it up. I haven't yet, because I think it's my only copy, and I want to make sure that it can fit in any builds if I want to test it later. But with Synth Fiber, you will be able to pick up any health orbs, even if your health is full. So you're going to be getting a lot of health orbs from Synth Deconstruct. You're going to be getting a lot of health orbs from your Pole of Life, and you're going to be converting all those health orbs into energy to feed your gigantic energy pool with Ivara, which is going to allow you to have your energy pool always full. And you're going to be, because of Well of Life, if you choose to use a concentrated arrow build, you can have pretty much a stationary target for a bunch of seconds. It's just standing there, floating there, receiving arrows to the head, doing damage to all that comes near it. And then once you need, if you start to run out of energy, you just need to cancel your Pool of Life or your Well of Life, and then grab the 4, maybe 5 orbs that it's going to drop and regen, possibly more if you also hit it, because of Synth Deconstruct. So you can potentially get 5 health orbs and 1 energy orb just from the 1 enemy that was floating in the air. So this is the final piece of the puzzle here. I want to test other pets, but the problem with other pets, especially the Sentinels, is that they don't seem to attack when you are stealthed, whereas the Krubers and the Kavats, they seem to attack even while you are stealth. I'm not sure there's something I'm missing about the pets or the Sentinels. Honestly, I would like to get to use Death Cube, because the Death Cube has that mod that gives you energy orbs after he assists you with 10 kills. So that would be nice as well. But as you can see here, I was trying the same build with it, but it does not seem to want to attack things when you are stealthed. So let me know if you know how to get around that. Maybe there's a way around that, because if there is, I'll probably switch back to Death Cube Prime, because again, if you're invisible at all times, your pet is going to be alive for most of the time, and with Prime Regen, your pet's going to resurrect, a total of 3 extra times. So if you manage to get your pet killed 4 times while you are in a high-end mission with the Ivara, you're probably not invisible long enough. Just be more careful, and your Death Cube Prime should stay alive with you for most of the mission. And before anybody says that it doesn't attack because I don't have a weapon equipped, that's not the case. I had a weapon equipped before. I just unequipped it to test some other things, and it wasn't attacking it. So that's why. But yeah, let me know if you know of any other pets here that might be better for AoE attacks than the Panzer Volpafala, something that is not as suicidal. Alternatively, of course, your Kavat that gives you crit chance might be better, or might be a good choice as well, because it's going to be giving you random crit buffs, which is going to make your headshot do even more damage and really improve the damage of your concentrated arrow. But yeah, that's all for my Ivara build here that I wanted to show you guys. But yeah, I'm excited to share my Ivara builds with you guys. Let me know how you think I can improve this build. It's working out quite well so far. It's a bit slow with the pool of life and well of life power there, but it just allows you to keep going forever. You never run out of energy with this build. But yeah, as always, if you liked the video and thought it was informative, I'd appreciate it if you could hit that like button. And if you want to see more Warframe content from me, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, we have the join button so you can become a member. I really appreciate it. And also come join our Twitch streams and our Discord community. Links for all those things are down below. But that's going to be it from me for now. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.